Good morning, HWC kids. This month in Sunday school, we're starting a new series called The Messengers. We're going to spend 5 weeks talking about the most important message that was ever sent out and how we are the ones that are meant to be delivering it. It's easy to think that we aren't good enough or old enough or brave enough to share the good news of God's love, right? Well, there are so many stories in the Bible that prove that God can use anyone, even very unexpected people, as his messengers. And today's story is one of them, the story of Saul. Let's read a little bit about his story. So after Jesus had died on the cross and risen again and went back up to heaven to be with God, the church began to grow. Very soon, people started to notice how the members of this new church looked after each other and took care of others. People wanted to be a part of it. They were excited about God and excited about his church. Well, not everyone was excited about it. There was a man named Saul who hated what was happening. He wanted to stop it before it could get any bigger. So he hunted for people who loved Jesus and put them in prison. Saul was an enemy to God, but God had a plan for him. One day, Saul was traveling with some friends to a city called Damascus in search of Jesus' followers. But as he was walking along the road, a bright, blinding light flashed down from the sky. It was all around him, and it was so bright that Paul couldn't see a thing. Then he heard a voice say, "Saul, why are you doing this to me?" "Who are you?" said Saul. "I am Jesus," said the voice. "Go into the city, and you will be told what to do." The light disappeared. Saul's friends were confused. They had heard the same voice, but they hadn't seen anything. Saul stood up and opened his eyes. He couldn't see. He was blind. His friends had to help him by holding his hands as they walked into Damascus. In the same city, God had told a man named Ananias to go and find Saul. Ananias loved God, but he did not like this idea at all. He knew that Saul hated God's people, and that meant him too. But God told Ananias that he had a plan for his enemy, a surprising plan. He was going to change Saul's heart and use him to tell the story of God's love to people everywhere. Saul was going to become someone who loved God instead of hating him. He was going to teach God's people instead of hurting them. Because Ananias loved God, he did what he was asked. Ananias put his hands on Saul and said, "Jesus has sent me to you so that you can see again and have the gift of his Holy Spirit." Suddenly, Saul could see again. God had healed his eyes, and he had also changed Saul's heart. Now Saul wanted to help God's church. Instead of arresting Jesus' followers, he wanted to be their friend. The people in Damascus were amazed. "Is this the same man who used to hate God's people?" they asked. It was. God had changed Saul, and now he could tell others that Jesus was the new king, the Son of God. So God took a person who loathed him and his people, he showed him his love, and he changed Saul's life. Saul, who had been an enemy of God, was now a messenger of God. That's kind of amazing, isn't it? God can use anyone, including you, to spread his love. All you have to do is say yes to God. Our verse this month is Isaiah 6:8. It says, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here am I, send me.'" Will you say "send me" when God calls you to be his messenger? Let's say yes together this week. Have a great day.